It's been over 20 years since the launch of Metal Gear Solid 3, a fan favorite from the series. The remake, Metal Gear Solid Delta, has been a long-awaited remake ever since it was announced some years ago. Now, even though the game might look great, the launch of the game has had some critical reception since the game has been built on Unreal 5, and performance has been less than stellar. Will cloud gaming platform Boosteroid be able to counter these claims? Well, gear up and get ready to drop in. Our mission is commencing.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Now, the first thing I want to note is that this is an install and play game, and this means that you need to accept the agreements and install the game to play on Boosteroid servers. No worries though, this only takes seconds. I initially started the game in Boosteroid, so I got the first time setup runaround. Every time you start the game, you get this screen. Yes, it's a shader loading screen. Thankfully, it only takes about a minute or so on Boosteroid. Now, before we go into performance issues, I wanted to let you know about the problems I had with the graphics settings. I generally play at 4K, and this has been quite a nightmare trying to change my settings. If you start the game on the platform, you will also get the option to choose a graphics profile. The problem with this is that Boosteroid has already set a profile, and if you choose anything differently, the resolution will change. So I started the game over to reset this. And this did work, and here's what Boosteroid set us up with. At 4K, they gave us the high preset with FSR set to balanced. Not incredible, but definitely not terrible. So here's the issue. If you exit out of this window, it would reset my resolution to 1080p. I have no idea why. This didn't happen to me on any other platform. So I can't really test out maxing at 4K, so we'll just see how the default settings work. Okay, so you know this game is mostly cutscenes, especially in the beginning. You might have heard about the other game reviewers talking about how bad the optimization has been. And yes, it's bad, but Boosteroid does hold its own. Not without some downsides. Quote-unquote optimization is all kinda done with scaling, FSR to be precise. Now, each game is of course different when it comes to how it handles FSR, but Unreal games are truly unreal. You might have thought that we were playing a Metal Gear game, but in reality, Snake turns into Sonic as the green blur. Thanks, FSR, you did it again. Alright, let's forget those cutscenes and get on to actual gameplay. So even with all those terrible reports of horrible optimization, Boosteroid still manages to play the game pretty well. Remember, I'm at 4K initially, and the settings Boosteroid set us up with aren't too bad. They're better than console.
How dare you!
Boosteroid did a pretty good job of trying to get us around 60 FPS. Just make sure you're not crawling in the grass, shooting anything, or taking anyone down because the FPS will tank into the 40s once any of those moves occur. No, I'm not joking. They kept this game at 60 just like Metal Gear Solid 5 10 years ago. It's just too bad they didn't use an updated version of the Fox engine instead of Unreal. Konami, just beg Kojima to come back. Quit fooling around. But the worst performance I got so far was on the infamous bridge. This is actually a very open part of the map, as you can see. I'm hitting an FPS in the 40s. So I'm guessing that maps in the later parts of the game will have a similar performance. But just as I slip right past these idiots, I could slip past the lower FPS because 1080p is where it's at. Now, the performance at 1080p is a completely different story. Since I was able to actually change the graphic settings at 1080p and not have a resolution issue, I cranked everything up to Ultra and even turned scaling to native. No Sonic blur this time. Take that, AI. And hello, 60 FPS, even on our famous bridge. A couple of dips here and there, but overall things played pretty well. But can we really just trust this bridge area? I wouldn't lie to you, right?
How well do you have to know me to trust me?
Well, let's put this in perspective. The fight with the
Crew operatives
gave us a more realistic outcome. I got frames in the mid-50s for the most part, but I also got dips down into the 40s. It wasn't for long though. So no, a constant 60 FPS at 1080p on ultra settings isn't possible, but to be honest, this is probably one of the best ways to play the game if you play at 1080p. You could lower the settings to maybe get some of those frames back, but this is okay for me. I would be very happy playing like this at 1080p for the whole game. But do we deserve more? Yeah, I think Konami should have given us a much better optimized game, but I also believe Boosteroid did well with their performance. It looks like everyone is having issues with this game, so it's obviously the game and not necessarily the platform. So in the words of Snake, Boosteroid?
You're pretty good.
Yep, not great though. Hopefully some patches come through and update the performance as we're expecting them to. But in the meantime, Boosteroid is a decent way to play the game. But they also need to update their Steam app so I can utilize the new FPS stats!
That right there is emotional damage.
Anyway, if you're interested in signing up for Boosteroid, the link is in the description. And if you like this overview of Metal Gear Solid Delta on Boosteroid, give us a like. Also, make sure to join as a member of the channel or join our Patreon and our Discord in the links below. And above all else, make sure to subscribe to keep it locked right here at the only place where you can do battle in gaming heaven, Cloud Gaming Battle.